quite advisable to do deep fishing today. If they can do it between 1 to 2 degrees into the ocean, it will be okay. But above that, it's likely they may get themselves engulfed in this windstorm. For the Volta Lakes, they are pretty cool for any fishing activities, except that visibilities will not be too clear. We are expecting it between 2,000 and 9,000 meters. So this is how we expect it to be for today.
Thank you very much, Felicity. Grateful that you could join us, and you stay safe out there.
Yeah, thank you too.
That's Felicity Ahafenyo with the Ghana Meteorological Authority. Mind you, at 6:50, Johnny's Bite will be on. Tell someone to tell someone. But today's Throwback Thursday should be Checker after James Brown with Twist Again. Here we go.
3FM Sunrise.
One thing is beans, mix up nice. And as you know, we're heading towards the very first Gobe Festival, 4th March. 3FM is bringing the best makers of beans and gari and everything else, Gobe, together for 4th March Independence Saturday. We're inviting everybody to come. So this is how it is in Zanzibar, I'm sure you know. And on that day, there will be a lot of this and many more on the ground. So watch out for the details. And it's on 4th March. And I invite you to the 3FM Made in Gobe Festival. See you there. Nice.
Gobe is lovely. Gobe is good. Gobe is, top notch. Every Monday, when I go out, I make sure I buy Gobe for my mom, and she's so grateful. About 8 years, she loves Gobe. I love Gobe. You can't take it away from food items in Ghana. 4th March, join us. Let us finish the Gobe. No matter who you are, everybody should be there. Let us promote Gobe, and let's make Gobe international. Like how Jollof has become international. Gobe will also become international. Join us and let's do it together. Gobe is lovely. Gobe is good.
30 years of democracy, government commits to strengthen parliament. That's on page 4 of the Ghanaian Times. Also, OMCs with less than 45 outlets won't participate in G40. That's the gold for oil, I should say, according to the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, Dr. Mustafa Hamid. John Mahama, 2 others pick nomination forms to contest the NDC presidential primaries, and Germany ready to support Ghana's domestic debt exchange program. German Economic Cooperation Minister said 1 killed, 3 wounded after mourner fires gun at a funeral. On the back page, Ghanaian Times, 8 female-led agribusinesses empowered in the Upper West region. Also support informal businesses to leverage on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to grow the GA. So that's it there on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. The Citizen newspaper this morning says China's agenda in the mining sector exposed. It comes with a photo of a minister for land and natural resources. Also, Ghana imports maize seeds from South Africa. How? After all the planting for food and jobs, chiefs vindicated that the Lands Commission grabs 250 acres of dairy farms and the lands there as well. And the Anchor newspaper, it says, revealing the truth. AMA blows 800,000 Ghana cedis on Xmas rice and oil. And you know that's a matter that the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has constituted a committee following some 11 members of the Assembly who petitioned the Assembly to investigate and possibly bring a vote of no confidence on the head of the mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, as mayor faces corruption, nepotism, and incompetence charges. Also, consultant throws out Busa South, DC over backdoor attempt to relocate Get Fund projects, and Nalet reclaims over 1,000 hectares of Galamsey land. Mahama picks forms for round 3. Blocks spew Alabi others in the 2024 ambition. The Meridian says gold for oil, only OMCs with not less than 45 outlets will receive products, according to the MPA. But that has come with a lot of people asking questions about whether or not it is fair. Government restoring pre-COVID-19 economic stability and growth. Richard Ahiagba is Director of Communications of the governing NPP. Review 1992 Constitution to reflect changing times. Majority Leader and contempt case against Apostle Ebenezer Boahin adjourned. What's on the front page of the Business Finder, which will be a final one for this morning? Remittance inflows to hit $5 billion and it will transform lives of Ghanaians. GRA SML collaboration paying off, and only OMCs with over 45 outlets will receive gold for oil products. That's what's on the front pages this morning. I've been joined by William Esiedu of Current Memory. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am greater than Accra.
Charlie.
Yes. Slept well?
Daybreak.
Daybreak again.
God day with day.
Daybreak again. You know, so we're there. We're here. Let's start from the cause. Parliament is 30, of course, and everybody is congratulating Parliament. For me, I think that we have come a great journey since 1993, even before that, because now we have a strong democracy, a fledgling democracy, I'd like to put it. But again, we know those parliamentarians who have delivered over the period, and those parliamentarians who have not delivered. Some have been given just one chance and then they are shown the exit. Others have become Mugabes in their constituencies, staying on. But if we look at the business of Parliament itself relative to the furtherance of our democracy, would we say that Parliament has really lived up to the bill in terms of keeping the executive arm of government in check? Would you say that, William?
Johnny, because of our history, anytime there's a coup, it's Parliament that suffers. Because the executive will always be there per proclamation of the military junta. The judiciary will still be there because lawyers and judges will be working, but Parliament will be disbanded. So if we still have our Parliament after 30 years, it's just for me a sign that our democracy has really taken roots. So that's number one. Number two, if you look at the performance of Parliament, in the beginning, I think the MPP boycotted the first election.
That's right, the first
parliamentary election. And they came back. And since they came back, I would say we've done quite a lot of good things. I mean, but it's not a one-party state. So we should expect that there will be this wrangling, although they go there in the name of a constituency which is made up of all the political parties. After they win, when they get there, the whip system also now directs them on the partisan path.
Whips them into line.
So we've not had too many campaigners, apart from the likes of PC Appeal for and who else can we mention?
We can mention...
so it's difficult to even get names.
Exactly, the names. People who stood their grounds and said that,
principle,
look, what is
no
going
matter
on
what,
is
exactly,
wrong.
the Ghana First kind of thing. Even though if you look into the Parliament of Ghana, the name that readily comes to mind is PC Appeal for And I would have wished that we had more of those individuals in terms of cementing the development of Ghana in their submissions and in their arguments and the rest of them. Recently, we've seen how one party will say, look, we are not going to do this in terms of approve A, B, C, D, and then they go and approve them. And then, so are they listening to the people when they get there? I would say they listen to their parties more. They listen to their parties more.
Would you?
And for me, that's unfortunate because if you go elsewhere in the West, the MPs are always with the people. Even when they win power, they go and hold town hall meetings. They are with them. They listen to them. They argue on principle. If it's environment, they will come and they will push the environmental agenda. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that more in our guest house. Other than that, they've done well because look, democracy around Africa, especially West Africa, has not been easy. So if Ghana has come this far, 30 years in the life of a country that has not had any upheavals in terms of military interventions and so on and so forth, I think we'll give them some kudos and just,
we will. But for me, I'm also looking at the people of Santo, Kofi, Akpafu, Lipe, and Lolobi. They still don't have a representation. Parliament is supposed to be a representation of all of us in the country. I know that they have petitioned the Attorney General over the failure of Parliament and the government and the Electoral Commission to at this point come together to give them a representation in Parliament. That's one critical issue that we all seem to have forgotten as we celebrate, because in all the 7 parliaments gone before them, we had representation for them. It was the Electoral Commission that created new constituencies because we wanted to have new districts, and then suddenly they do not have representation. That's one. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Albon Bagbin, also has indicated that they want to create legacy projects. And for me, I've been looking at how we tap into the knowledge, experience, and expertise of people like the Dua Jahos, people like the Michael Quays, people like the
Speaker himself,
people like Cletus Savoka,
and your uncle Beginner City Shoes.
I mean,
they are all there.
He was there as Speaker, not as a thoroughbred parliamentarian, right? But I've been looking at how Parliament itself sets up some form of an institution, because in this country we only do political science. That's it. And then the next point, you find people with a political science background, or if you're a sociology background, and other fields. But these are the foremost ones that you find them, or other lawyers going largely into politics. And if you go to a parliament, you have a lot of them there. But we do not have a proper curriculum or a program designed for people who want to be career politicians and career parliamentarians. I think that 30 years on Parliament should be looking at institutionalizing Parliament, so that right from the get-go, you are giving an understanding of what drafting, for example, is, so that when bills come before you, it's easier for you to go through. You don't lay bay and leave all to some experts to come and be dealing with the art of debating in Parliament. The parliamentary procedure, the standing orders. If you had a 4-year program that's teaching people this thing, or even a 2-year refresher course that's teaching people, I think that they will go a long way in enriching our Parliament. Because also, we do know that for those of us who have been around Parliament for some time, we do know that when Parliament's about to rise, that's where a lot of bills are rushed through. And some of them come back to say, Charlie, we could have done this better, this could have been done better. But obviously, because the pigeonholes are always full, and they would have to deal with some of those issues. So congratulations to our Parliament. I pray that in the 9th Parliament, we get at least a representation of the other political parties, CPP, PNC, PPP, GCPP, all of those PPP parties. we get a representation at least from among them to represent, what do you call it? The former chairman of the NPP, Elembele Mugabe, Freddie Blay. He represented the CPP, of course, Samia Yaba Nkrumah as well, and that has been the end. That's it. Then came to Emmanuel Kofi Boy, and that's it. So you would want that if Parliament really is a representation of all of us, it must also give an indication that we are not in a duopoly sort of, but we have a multi-party system in the strictest sense of the word. And so I want to see a lot of that as well. One thing within also this length of Parliament, and I'll give credit to Speaker Michael Quay, that private members bill started under him, where private members could bring their own bill and sponsor a bill, not have to necessarily wait for an institution or some organization to come and lobby, or cabinet to think of a bill before it's put before them.
He's
private members, political scientist par excellence, and that's what has given rise to this LGBT law that Sam George and Reverend Intim Fojo and the rest are championing within that space. So for me, they have done well.
Yeah.
But
So
they could do better.
You were talking about training and preparing for Parliament. I think the law schools are doing well in that respect. I mean, when you look at constitutional law, and sometimes even administrative law, you have a bit of parliamentary practice in there.
That's a bit.
And then you come to some of the political parties themselves. They've started setting up institutions that would teach young people about democracy, which are definitely parliamentary processes will come. The NDC has the school Institute of Social Democracy.
But those ones are teaching the ideologies of the party.
No, but if you get the ideology of the party, it is automatic for me. I haven't seen their curriculum, but I'm suspecting that they will also teach you how to behave and participate in Parliament. I mean, so I'm just...
They are interested. I mean, I spoke with Dr.
If you become,
Dr. Peter Bomo-Tokuno, who was the dean of a school you mentioned. And he tells me that this is to get the concept of the NDC and the ideology down to the grassroots.
Yes.
I know that the MPP is doing a similar thing to also try and get it down to them.
So to augment what Parliament is expected to do or is doing already, because I'm just assuming, I haven't seen their workings, as I'm saying. So if you go to that school and you are taking through the social democratic process, I'm sure they will also tell you how to get into Parliament, how to work in Parliament and succeed as an MP. So it's a good thing. I mean, I should be proud of our Parliament, not because they've done extremely well, but I'm just opposing what is happening in Africa and the sub-region. You know, I think there's more room for improvement, and we should just wish them well.
There's another concern that, look, Parliament over the period has been doing scratch my back, I scratch your back with the executive in terms of...
That's a national interest thing.
Like, give me this, I give you that. And that's... People have not been too enthused about it. Yesterday, I put up a post on Twitter, and the responses that came in on Twitter suggested that people were not altogether, happy with our Parliament.
And that's why we miss people like PC. I wish we could mention more names, Johnny. Do you have any more names?
Well,
in respect of the national interest and national call in Parliament.
There are people, Joseph Yile-Tre, in terms of his towering experience, and you see, even the majority leader now talks about that.
He started coming.
I remember that when Honorable Joseph Yile-Tre said he was not going to contest again, the majority leader then said they would miss him because when it comes to understanding the parliamentary process, you would miss them. The likes of Inusa Fuseni, Tamale Central, you miss him, So
and that Johnny,
Abubakar Sadiq, Boniface Abubakar Sadiq.
I saw him yesterday with the Alam team.
You will miss some of those people because they enrich the debate. I mean, I'm looking at Parliament in 1996, where you had the Uswa Champons, the J.H. Bensons, the Kunedua Prekus, and you listen to the depth of the debate.
Those were serious guys.
The depth of the debate. Helen, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. The depth of the debate. I mean, these days, some of the debates...
That was the point I was coming to.
You listen to the debates.
The majority leader has made that point, that the quality has reduced.
Right.
I mean, when we were reporting from Parliament, I was there with the Groove FM. That is
at Dome FM.
Yes, Groove FM, very close to Parliament. So after the budget, they will hear the news on air before all the stations because we're just behind Parliament.
Right.
And you hear Apreku describing the budget as a lame, dark budget. Then the following year, when it's NDC stand, they'll describe it as that. I mean, it was exciting because they will give you strong points, economic, financial points. I mean, if somebody came as a lawyer, astute lawyer, if somebody came as a finance person, solid, and if somebody came as somebody from the education sector, solid. So it's something that the majority leader has been calling for, and going forward, we are just hoping 2024 will get solid individuals in there, and not just people who can pay the delegates.
But Helen, can we just hope, because now monocracy
that's the point I'm making.
has taken center stage. I mean, last time somebody was telling me about somebody who wants to go to Parliament, and then he says, in this constituency, a problem has always been about money, and now we have somebody who has money. Then I asked him, is it all about money? Because this individual that has money, from wherever he got it, he is not really giving you a message. that when I go to Parliament, I will make sure that I bring my energies on to influence the kind of laws that will be passed, which will benefit you as a constituent. He's not talking about that.
Yeah.
So he's only interested in, he has money, and then he's the guy we're going with.
That's short-sighted.
And I felt very bad.
Yeah.
And if that's the thinking on the ground, because he met me at a funeral, a localized funeral, and he had about 6 people following him. Can you imagine that he influences all the 6 people with this kind of mindset?
And then they go on to further
another 6.
influence another 6, and they also influence another 6. The problem.
So I'm just trying to understand that money thing. Is this somebody? I mean, it's because the MP thing has now been turned into a development agenda rather than, if you like, a law-making agenda. So government development projects hardly come. So if you're talking about somebody who has money, is this somebody who has money to give the delegates to go and chop for the moment, or is it somebody who has money that he can come and use his money to do developmental projects in the community? So
the money debate, and you're right, you're spot on with government delay. I mean, how is it that government goes ahead for 3-4 quarters? Common fund has not been released. So somebody just comes in to fill the gap.
Yes.
And that person becomes a sudden hero.
Yes.
Instant hero.
There.
Instant hero. Instant
they
hero.
pay school fees.
Yeah.
Some try to do 1 or 2 library projects, pay this, pay
They
that.
attend all the funerals.
Yes. And so if they are waiting for somebody who has money, it's not right. But trying to understand it, I'm asking the question, is it because the person can come and do what government cannot do, and so then he comes to Parliament, and as of Bravo will say, MP or by a Parliament.
And also you on the TV. So now what that?
DJ Phil, give us that.
I will not go for you. Okay, so I put up this on Twitter. Ghana's Parliament is 30 years old. What are your candid thoughts about the legislature? Has it served us well? What changes do you want to see, and what should be maintained? Hashtag 3FM Sunrise, hashtag Johnny's Bite, and also hashtag 3FM Gobe Festival. Now,
I like the way you are listing the hashtag.
President, it's important. Presidential ambition says it has served us good with a good democratic regime. However, I think we should scrap their number to at most 150. Again, the tenure of MPs should be capped at maximum of 3 terms. That's 12 years with a qualification of at least 10 years of practical experience in various fields of work. And chapter says, write a new constitution. The current one is, well, he uses some French there. I can't. Austin Brown says, absolutely no. I will rate them 20%. Hasonotic says, the legislature is the most failed arm of government simply because it has not executed its oversight responsibility. That's checking the executive arm to the fullest extent. It has only served in the interest of the party in power. And he uses our hashtags as well. Stars GA says, honestly, our current parliament does not allow for proper engagement. It is now a house where the majority says yes to every policy of government and the minority disagrees with everything. We are in a situation where even if the minority are right, they are called naysayers. Odin says the constitution is powerful and strong and useful if it's our leaders who are otherwise. Papa says, Charlie, I beg you, don't put me in trouble. Nothing better to be hopeful for. Nyamiche Forba Dominic says, I want to see changes in the 1992 constitution, and so many other comments there that people want to see. Somebody says people's mental state must be checked carefully before giving them the opportunity to become MPs. He mentions a name, I cannot repeat it. Ghana's parliament, the most but you know that in the constitution, one of the requirements for becoming a member of parliament is the person should be of sound mind. One of the requirements.
Is it at all times?
No, it is in the constitution.
You should be of sound mind at all times.
It's not me. It's I'm not
the last time you made this point.
I'm not making
William,
the
I
point.
know what you're about to say.
The last time you made the point.
William, you like speaking to law.
But you mentioned constitution. Is the constitution a Bible?
I'm quoting law.
Is it not the mother law?
I'm quoting law.
Masa. If you have mentioned constitution, I'm going to talk about law. Is it I like quoting law?
But that's a very difficult one.
I said no. I'm not saying. I said you like quoting law. So it is not a point that I made.
Okay. okay.
It is a point that the Constitution has made in law.
What I'm saying is that the soundness of the mind, it's not a person's intelligence. So it's a medical.
I didn't say that. I said who checks that?
Yes, but
and that's difficult. You know, we're told experts say 1 in 5 Ghanaians is struggling with a severe mental illness. So that one, there's not much we can do.
You have to bring a medical. Right now we are 5 years, so how to get it? You have to bring a medical.
I might have a few guesses as to who might not be of sound mind, but I'll keep that close to my chest.
Anyway, well, so only outlets, OMC outlets with less than 45, more than 45 outlets would get their gold for oil. That's according to the NPA. And already people are raising concerns about it. That is not fair. Number one, number two, it will end up pushing those who have lesser numbers of outlets out of the business. What do you say?
Well, there simply isn't enough to go around. That's the bottom line. Obviously, you know how I feel about the even the pronouncement of this gold for oil system, but I won't go that far back. But there's just not enough to go around, and I think that's the issue. Although government says that we should be feeling the effects of this recent purchase, gold for oil at the pumps, and I think then we can move forward. But I think it's a case of how much oil are they really going to get, given the amount of gold that we know that we have, or we don't even have, if you will.
Well, but then again, so let's say I sell here at TV3, and then you sell towards Prudential Bank.
Right.
I have more than 45 outlets, so I benefit from gold for oil, and then I get cheaper fuel to retail. And then you, around the Prudential Bank, you have 38 or even 42 or 43, so you don't qualify.
Right.
And so you cannot price your fuel as cheap as I price. People will choose me over you. And for as long as people are not buying from you and they're buying from me, it has an impact on your overheads, your running, your ability to buy and pay and sell. And that's the same kind of trouble we had with the banking sector cleanup, where if you couldn't meet a capital requirement, a minimum capital requirement, we were literally shut out.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
We've done same with the insurance companies. We've done same with microfinance. Why are we continuing to use the same method that has proven over time not to have worked in the favor of expansion? Because business will only survive and thrive if it expands, if it scales up. That's what I think.
What did government say about the reason for putting a cap on the number of
well, they say they don't want to sell it soppy.
They're looking for an OMC, is it?
That's right.
Oil marketing company.
Oil marketing company that can reach a lot of Ghanaians, so that the benefits will spread across the country. So that if you are say Willie Oil, and yours is only at Adenta. It's only the people at Adenta who enjoy the price cut that may come following the deal. But if you have a lot of outlets across the country, then all Ghanaians will benefit. That's basically what. But I'm wondering how that's like we're saying, how fair that arrangement is. I mean, it's a very difficult policy in terms of.
I just thought about whether or not government feels like it's got enough to go around and how sustainable it is. I don't even know if moving forward they can continue to do this.
How much gold we have.
Exactly.
Why? Buying 6:44 is the time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for Johnny's Bite at 6:50. Tell somebody about it. Join the stream. But Lakeside Estate is asking you what your consideration of an investment is. They're asking you how safe are your